All right, I think we're live. Sorry about that. I was trying to drop a real quick. Let me just check. It takes me a minute. I'm sorry. One of these days, I'm gonna like understand how I can get on early and go live all at the same time on time. But I feel like there's a lot you have to do after you get on. It's a little bit of stuff. So today we have an awesome topic, and it's a little bit different than what we normally talk about. So hopefully you guys will be into it, but let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback on it for sure. I'm like a crazy lady today. So today we're talking about foundations of your business. And why is that important? So most of you know this, but I've been consulting businesses since 2007. And I want to say always, but always is a very strong word. Most of the time, the bottleneck is in the owner. We all know that, right? The bottleneck is in the owner. That's one of them, one of the things. But another one of the things is that a lot of the times, a lot of the, I don't know where my presentation is. So strange. Let's see. I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds, but it's like my presentation. I'm not sure if I changed some stuff. I'm not sure if I downloaded it and I don't see it. Oh. All right. Well, hopefully this will be. Oh my Lord. Gotta love when you're live and nothing's working. Give me 2 seconds. Anyway, so today we're talking about foundations. If you have questions about it, let me know. But what I really want everybody to understand is, Canva changed their stuff. And I think that maybe that's what's going to happen. That's super strange. Like it's not even. Um, anyway, so the big thing with the foundations of your business is that you need to be in order. You have to have things. You want to have like all of your ducks in a row. Unlike Erica today. Give me 2 more seconds. When you're live, it's the absolute worst time to look at things because then you feel like the pressure of everybody staring at you. You can't see anybody. I found it, but I think this is in change things up, whatever. That just makes me so sad. I made a bunch of changes and I cannot find the presentation in Canva. It's like it disappeared. That is so strange. All right, I'm gonna look one more time, and then if I can find it, I'll start. I have the old one, so we can start with that. But what's like totally bizarre is if I downloaded it. Here it goes. It is so strange. There's like a bunch of other things that I did. I'm like, yeah. I mean, God, it's super annoying. All right, moving on. I added so much to this presentation. I'm very sad, but we have to go with what we have because otherwise you'll be here all day watching me do nothing. Okay. Sharing screen. I'm always a little nutty, but today, woo, times 10, right? Mm, There's gonna be like a lot of stuff that looks bad. We're going with it. On back. All right, so here we go. All right, the front page changed it. Nothing. Don't worry about it. All right, so what we're talking about is foundation of your business, and this is stuff that we don't typically talk about because most of the things, if you guys follow me for a while, you know that I talk about strategy, which is a big thing, but I talk about it in terms of your personal brand, your content, like how you're going to get your message out there, your messaging, that type of stuff. So today we're going a little bit deeper, and I know we don't normally go this deep, so bear with me. At the end, there's a little overview of it, and you can see that. And if you want a copy of the steps, then just DM me foundation, and I'll send you a copy of the steps when we're done. All right. So the first one, F. And if you know me, I love to do acronyms. And this is a long one. So the first letter is F. I'm sure you can guess it because it's a long one. Financial management. All right, drop your guesses below if you're guessing. Establish financial health. So what you want to do is your personal health is important because I know that most of the people that I work with are coaches, were either one-man show or, grow into a larger, but still starts with you. So you need to make sure that your personal finances are in order, and then you want to start your business finances. And I hear a lot of you like, what's to track, what's to start. It doesn't matter. There are a lot of, I'm not going to go into all of the different forms and everything that you need to do. If you need help with that, let me know. But there are things that you need to track in your business. You want to track your projection of where you want that business to go, but you need your day-to-day things too. You need to know what your cash flow is. Most businesses end up going out of business, not because maybe even they're not successful, but because they don't have the cash flow to survive. So that is, one of the first things that we do in my program when you first come in is how can you get cash coming in the door? What are these quick things to get cash coming in the door? And I'll show you different things. If you see on my LinkedIn today, I just did one for myself. Just, you can do these over and over and over, but quick cash flow, you want to get money coming in the door. Number one, you always want to be on top of what your actual cash is, because revenue and profit are two totally different things. What can you actually spend? How are you paying your bills? That's the type of stuff that's really, really, really important. There are doctors that make $300,000 a year and literally don't have any money. Why? Because their spending is as high or higher as their income, and they're not saving for retirement and all of that. So your financial management and the health of your finances is super important. If you're in debt, don't shy away from that. Just put it down. It doesn't, by putting your finances in order, doesn't mean you have to have, your emergency fund already saved. It means you need to know where you're at to figure out how you're going to get to where you want to go. And maybe baby steps to get there. I mean, maybe where you want to be is really far from where you're at right now. That's okay. What's the first step that you want to be? You want to have all that mapped out, but you also want to have your spreadsheets of your finances in order. And I'm not going to go into spreadsheet stuff because most people hate it, but you want it. Even if you're not a numbers person, you can keep simple records. All right, so the next one, who can guess the word? Oh, operational efficiency. This is a lot of stuff. You've heard me talk about the agency I have with Dan. It's called Brand Elevate. We do a lot of the tech automations where you can automate your flows. You want to put up like a landing page, right? And then what do you want to send behind the landing page? All of those flows, you can automate that. Any type of systems that you use to send out email, to send out SMS, to send out whatever it is, all of that. But your SOPs are really important. So even before you use automation, even before that, you want to know what is it that you're doing on a day-to-day basis and how are you doing each and every single one of those things? Why? You want that step by step, because the minute you can start outsourcing, those things that you can do step by step are the easiest ones to give to somebody else. It's that thing that repetitive that you do over and over. Those are the easiest ones to give to somebody else. So you want to get those going on first and be able to send those out. Be able to write them down. First, just jot it down. The next time you do it, follow your instructions. You're like, oh my God, I don't have time. Let me tell you, it's a little bit slower when you're doing it the first time. But what happens is the more you do it, the more streamlined you're making it, and the better. I'm like a disaster. What's going on? I can't figure out how to mute it. The more you go over those SOPs, the more streamlined you're making it, right? You're following it now the second time, the third time, you're adding to it. Then you're going to create a video doing it. It's really, really, really important that you get those done as quickly as possible. Automation, how much can you do? I've got a couple of workshops coming up. Do I use ChatGPT? Absolutely. Have ChatGPT help you. How much can you streamline in your business? How much do you do the same? What systems are you using? Make it easier. Do you have 1,000 systems? Can you move it into one? I used to really want a different system for everything because of just like horrible paranoia of something going down. Well, I got over that quickly, right? When you have a bunch of different ones, it's really hard to keep up with. So, the pros and the cons are it'd be terrible if it goes down. But on a day-to-day basis, it's a lot easier to have it all online. That's just my philosophy now. And it was totally different years ago. So, all right, operational efficiency. It's super important. More than likely, if you're like me, you're not an operations person. I am not an operations person. So it takes a lot for me to get organized. Like I want and need an operations person in my business. But I'm not quite at that stage yet. So I don't have one. So I have to take a breath, slow down, try to create as many of those SOPs. I've literally hired VAs before and not been able to give them work because I'm not organized enough to do it. So you want to get that organizational part out before you start hiring people, because that's, you get in that cycle of like chasing your tail and putting out fires instead of getting in ahead of it. So that's what you want to do. I think I mentioned a couple of workshops. I don't know if I did. I have a couple of workshops coming up, but one of them is about content, and that trying to get that up and before you start going is super, super helpful. All right, understanding your market. So market research, a lot of market research, and you can do this all of the time. Consistent content, onboarding, personal branding, all of this falls under understanding your market in terms of foundation. So you might be thinking target market. I'm thinking like on broad scale here. And I would say almost my entire program, which is called STAR, is almost falls underneath this, almost a little bit of the one before it too, but falls underneath this. There are a lot of other areas, right, that you can get into. But to get your business moving, this is what you need to do. Figure out who your competition is. And I know we say you have no competition, you know, you're in your market of one. I get that, but you know what I'm talking about. You need to figure out who your contemporaries are, right? Who your collaborators, future collaborators are. If you want to call them that, that's what I like to call them, future collaborators, right? If they're a little bit above you, who are your future collaborators? Figure out who they are, and then what are they doing really, really well that you want to add, and what do you have that they're not doing that you want to emphasize, right? Double down on that type of thing. Onboarding when you get new clients, super important. Personal branding, hello, and your consistent content. There's a lot of other areas, but those are a couple of the ones that you want to do. And a lot of that competition, collaborative research is where you can get some of your ideas to get a little bit more traction on what you're doing. All right, it's air clear. We're going to fly through this because I wasted a little bit too much time at the beginning. Oh, didn't mean to fly through that much. Hold on. Okay. I was telling somebody the other day, we were talking about this picture on the bottom. That was a stage I was on at somebody's conference at the bottom. This is another conference on the top left. If you know her, she's amazing. Top right, a summit that I did that I was on stage with a couple of the high players there. This was literal in-person stage on the top, and on the bottom, that was a TV show I was doing. And on the bottom left, that was a summit that I actually hosted. It was amazing. And I felt Misha as one of my main guys. Anyway, well, because I talk about personal branding a lot, you know, I would advise you to take a lot of pictures and to do a lot of, I didn't. These are just a few I have along the way. There's a ton that I never even took pictures doing. It just wasn't into it back in the day. But you should do it. Do it. Don't want to miss out on those opportunities. All right, networking and partnerships. So FO. Oh, you was understanding your market. What now? All right, networking and partnerships is the N. FOUN if you don't have it. If you have it, put it down below. Building strategic relationships. So I'm sure you guys have heard of networking places called like BNI. The concept behind the networking groups, like one like BNI or strategic, my partner's in one public tip. There are a lot of other big ones that I can't think of the names of right now. But anyway, those groups are really good. And the concept behind them is if you can find a few key strategic relationships where you're passing them and they're passing you, and maybe you're collaborating, whatever it is. But if you can find a few key strategic relationships, that can really build your business. It's not that easy to find them. And when you get in those groups, they're trying to like mimic what that looks like. And they are very successful when they work. But trying to find those yourself is hard. Trying to get one of those groups, maybe, you know, even if, anyway, I'm not going to go into it, but getting into some of those groups is a great idea. Networking online is a great idea. Finding those collaborators, right, that you can do things with. Amazing idea. So when you collaborate with people, you don't necessarily have to start a business with them. You can collaborate on certain projects. You can swap things, like I'll speak on your stages, you speak on mine, type thing. You want to be very careful who you do those types of partnerships with, right? Swapping is, I did that when I very first started back in 2007. I grew my email list, telling somebody this the other day, to like 20,000 people. And it was all doing email swaps. You want to be careful who you do that with, because you're attaching your name to theirs, for starters, and they are presenting you to their audience, which means if you're swapping, you're presenting them to your audience as a recommendation. Don't take that lightly. That's huge, right? If something goes wrong, they're going to look at you because you're the one that presented it. So you do want to be kind of careful when you do stuff like that. But, you know, in the end, don't be so careful that you never do it either. You don't have to start a business with them. You can do partnerships, and it's super fun. It's a great way to broaden your horizons. There are a lot of people that would love for you to speak in their groups. I love doing that. So if anybody out there listening has a group and would love for me to come in and do a long, you know, teaching type presentation like this, I'd love to be able to do that. It's super fun. I love doing it. So building strategic relationships, that's super fun. Just there's a lot of different ways that you can get into that. We kind of touch on it at the end of one of my programs, but there's a lot that you can get into with this. And that's definitely something that you want to start thinking about. All right, diversification, expanding your offerings. So you will hear people, the gurus, all of the time say 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? I studied logistics back in the day. So I get the concept of this, and it's, you know, how are you going to get from A to B and all the things you're going to do to get there, basically. And when we talk about the 1, 1, 1, 1 theory, right? It's, you want to have one audience, one product, one offer. I don't know what else. Okay, those are all I can think of at the moment, right? So the idea behind that is, and the whole niching down, I was talking about this the other day too, the whole niching down. So the concept behind that is, you really want to niche down well at the beginning, because it's an easier way of, like, an easier entry point. So if you can speak to just one audience, you can really get in their heads. You can really figure out what they're talking about. You can really make them feel like they're being seen and heard, and like you're listening to them. So when you can do that, it's powerful, and it will exponentially increase the speed of entry. So that is the beauty behind that. Once you nail that, that's when you want to look at this. And I would say like $100,000 in. When you hit about $100,000 in your business, you're probably at a point, hopefully, that you're so dialed in, you're hitting. You've got your systems in place. Everything is working like clockwork. I've seen a ton of advertisements lately about doing your things evergreen, about, you know, having your webinars evergreen. Or the other really big one that I've seen lately, and it might just be what I look at, but I forget what it's called, but you know, where you can make like your one page that people can go through, and you can just send them to a little video, and a video of you or of your VA or of somebody going through your one page. I don't know if you've seen those. They're powerful. However, you really want to be super dialed in before you do that. You don't want to do that right off the bat. And I know a lot of you are like, oh my God, that's the best. I don't want to go on the sales calls. I don't want to talk to the people. You have to. You have to. So you don't want to hit this diversification until you're super dialed in. You don't want to evergreen. You don't want to do, and those aren't even what I'm talking about for diversification. You don't even want to hit that stage until you're super dialed in. And then once you're dialed in and you can put a little bit more on autopilot, that's when you want to expand your offerings. That's when you want to come up with the second thing, right? The second big thing. that's when you want to add in a whole. So you've heard before that very wealthy people have 7 streams of income, right? I am positive if you're anything like me and you're the visionary, you already have 7 or more streams of income in your head, right? You don't want to start them all at once. Reel it in, right? You don't want to start them all at once. As exciting as it seems and as into the ideas as you are, you want to write them down. Maybe even in your spare time, you want to fill them out a little bit. But you want to stay dialed in. You want to stay, blinders on, focused until you can get you want systems in place. You want everything in place for the one that you're doing. Then expand your offer. So how can you expand your offer? Well, there's a lot of different things. You can create a second product, right? You can add. So for example, if a lot of us have like a signature product coming in, right? A signature product coming in. Once you have enough people going through that signature product, once you have systematized, I don't want to say automated, but systematized the flow and how you're getting people in. And you're like, I'm so packed, I can't even get on the sales calls anymore. And you have to start putting in stops like applications or whatever it is. Once that has started happening and you get that dialed in, then you can move to the next one. Now, maybe you had an offer on the back end that you don't really talk about publicly. Maybe now you can start bringing that to the public, right? Because now you have the bandwidth to do it. For example, the foundation. Maybe now I could bring that to the public because I don't want to talk about, I mean, not that I don't want to, but the STAR program is so dialed in and, full and waiting list and blah, blah, blah. I mean, maybe some people just stay right there. You don't even need the second one. But what are some other ways of diversifying? Maybe opening it up to a totally different market, right? Maybe, for example, the STAR framework, essentially, I could use for coaches as I do, right? I use it for coaches. How could I take that and move it into corporations? Easily, right? Easily. It's all in the marketing. It's maybe a couple of tweaks in some of the wording and the stories, that type of thing. But the framework, it's the same framework. I'm just moving it to another market, and now I'm tweaking some of the stories, some of the things that would make it relatable in my marketing and how I present it. Maybe the angles, that type of thing, right? I could totally do that. So that's how you could expand your offers. Anyway, I got big on that one. So if you're at that stage of the game, then maybe this is something that you really want to talk about. Let me know. But you want to be really, really, really dialed in before you get there. Agile adaptation. We all thought, see, this whole slide has changed. Oh, so sorry. Staying agile in a dynamic market. So the most agile, hopefully, we'll have ever had to be in our entire lives of living was a couple of years ago, right? When the whole world collapsed. You had to be agile. A lot of businesses went out of business because they were not agile. They could not think of how to get online, of how to add something, right? That diversify a little bit. They were forced into that. So you need to be, and you need to be thinking of ways that you could be, even if you're not using them, that extra list I was talking about. Even if you're not using them at the moment, you need to be able to think of ways that you can. So be aware of what's going on in the markets, what's happening with other people, what's trending, what's not trending. AI, right? Are you adapting it? Because if you're not, you're going to be behind. You're going to be behind if you're not using bots, if you're not using automation, any type of automation. If you're not automating certain systems, for example, Elevate and Engage. If you're not on the list for Elevate and Engage, get on it. Why aren't you on it? But it's elevateandengage.com. And I do a different one of these every single Thursday. So I have a list. And what do? I automate the messages that go out.
and they go out a day before. So on Wednesdays, you get a message. On Thursday morning, you get a message, an hour before you get a message. I also now have Monday accountability, content creation accountability. That's on Mondays. Again, if you're signed up for that, you will get the automations to remind you on Sunday, hey, it's coming up. And then on Monday mornings, it'll send out and tell you, hey, it's coming, jump on. That type of thing. So I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she was doing another coach's, I think it's like a 5-day challenge they were running or something. The first 2 days, they sent out SMS, text messages. So when she got them, she jumped on. The third day, they didn't send them. She didn't jump on. She was in the middle of something else and just didn't do it. She was already used to them sending those and was counting on it and didn't get it. So you want systems in place and systems that work and aren't breaking. All right. Sometimes you can't help it, but you want to be aware of it. And we'll get into that in a second. All right. If you know what it is, put it down below. If you didn't get it already. Uh-oh, I'm scared for you. All right. T, talent development, investing in people. So when you first do your SOPs, you want to start investing in people immediately, even if it's a couple of hours VAs, right? My other business, Brand Elevate, we do that for our clients. So you can invest in Brand Elevate, and then we will run that for you. It's a whole nother beast. Number one, trying to run teams. It's a whole nother business in and of itself, right? So if you already don't have time, you want to outsource the outsourcing, which sounds crazy, but it's true. Because trying to find the right people is not easy. You can crash and burn. If you've got already some balls up that you're juggling, and then you try to hire somebody on that's not working, it's a disaster. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's horrible. So you want to do it when you're calm. If you're hiring your own people on, you want to do it once you have things moving smoothly. That's when you can hire on your own people, right? That's when you can start bringing in your own people, because you need the time and the space and the energy to be able to really focus on it. Onboarding new people. You want to onboard people coming into your business, even if you're outsourcing, even if it's new companies that you're working with. How can you onboard them and let them know all about who you are and what you are and how you operate and function and that type of thing? Super powerful. One time we were talking about values. I have the values of my company, Cheesified, Erica Style, and it spells out magic. Spells out magic. So I could share that, right? And talk about each one. I could share it in a little pop-up. It's a graphic. And then talk about each one of the values that are important to me and my company, right? All right. So talent development. If you're hiring like your COO, that's big. You want to figure out a lot of stuff before you get to that point. You want to have already moved in a small business like ours. We can get 7 figures without ever hiring anybody if we want to. It's true. We can outsource stuff, but literally hiring people, we don't even necessarily need to. But if you want to grow bigger, you're going to end up wanting to do it. And it is way easier, even if you want to be a one-person show, it's still easier if you can hire VAs or part-time people to help you out, whether that's your kids. If you've got kids in college, use them. That's amazing. If you have younger kids, they're sharp when it comes to social media. Get them to help you doing editing your videos, whatever it is. All right. I feel like I've looked at them to that would be hysterical. Okay. Talent development. How many of you have actually hired people before where it went really, really well? Drop it down below. Who did you hire? And tell me what you think contributed to it going really, really well. And if you hired somebody before and it crashed and burned, I've been there. Tell me what you think made it crash and burn. Like, what do you think? What do you think made it crash and burn? I can tell you a couple of things. I mentioned one earlier. I was spinning so bad, had zero time in my business, hired some VAs, didn't have time to get the stuff together to give to them. Like it was a disaster over a disaster. I've done that before. Hired VAs that I couldn't onboard properly because I wasn't clear enough, didn't have my SOPs ready, that type of thing. And now they're a disaster. You're telling people what to do and you're not clear on it. Disaster. So tell me what happened with you. I want to hear. We've all had the disasters, I'm sure. All right, innovation and improvement. This is ongoing. Let's get back to the one where we talked about competition, collaborator, future collaborators, content, that type of thing. Here's a big space where you can look at for innovation and improvement. What are they doing that you maybe can't do right now, but want to add in the future? You know, maybe onboarding is like, yeah, I need to be doing that, but in the future. Maybe, you know, systematizing, having, you know, the funnel like I do for Elevate and Engage. You're like, yes, God, that's what I need. You know, I need that. And then the recurring reminders, whatever it is. You want to be innovating and improving at all times. How can you do that? By looking at other people in your industry, by hiring somebody like me who knows what those things are and can tell you, let's do this next, let's do this next, let's do this next. By looking at your competition, looking at other industries. This is one of my favorite things to do, kind of Jedi, right? Look at other industries and see what they're doing. Because a lot of times we get so focused on our own industry, we don't even think outside of the box. When you want to innovate, you can really think out of the box when you go look at what an e-commerce store is doing. What? I'm not an e-commerce store. It doesn't matter. You know, how are they marketing? What are they doing? What are they adding? You know, are they doing things that maybe you could be doing? Right? I have a list a mile long of things I could be adding, you know, that I'm just not ready yet in my business and will be adding as I go. So always be innovating and improving. Tell me something below that you know is future for you, but you're just not ready yet. Future for you, but you're just not ready yet. Tell me what that is. I'll tell you one of mine. I want to do some retargeting. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but hey, I saw you looking at blah, blah, blah. Example, hey, I saw you jump on to Elevate and Engage, you know, the page or whatever. I saw you looking at Elevate and Engage the other day, but you didn't sign up. You know, can I ask you some questions or whatever? Those are awesome. I got one from AppSumo yesterday, an email. I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I love that. So that's one of the things I want to add to mine. All right. We read a lot on this one, and it looked better the latest edition that you don't get. All right, outstanding customer experience. Oh my God, don't even look at it. Lynn, if you're here, don't even talk about the typo. All right, so outstanding customer experience. I talk a lot about experiences. My mom was huge on experiences. I think that memories are more important than anything in life. You know, if your house burned down, would you cry? I would cry for 10 minutes. I'd be thinking of what am I going to do? How am I going to move? What's next? Things are things and they're not important. Experiences, however, are very, 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 very important. All right, so this is the tech side of experiences, outstanding customer experience. So I talk about UX and UI here, and that is, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but how they go through your flow. So example, if they get on your website and click something and it doesn't work, horrible experience. If they get on your website and it takes, you know, 40 seconds to load, horrible experience they're getting out. If they go on mobile and you're not mobile optimized, horrible experience, right? Those are some of the UX and UI. That's some of that type of stuff that you can talk about. Customer journey. What is the customer journey? How do you want them moving through it? Map out certain touch points that you know you'd love them all, love everybody to have. I mean, obviously, we want everyone to see one thing and be like, oh my God, I love you. I need to work with you. When do I start? That's what we want to happen. But does it happen? Not all the time, right? So map out those touch points, map out what's important, and align that with the customer journey before and after they become clients, right? Outline that. So pre-game means before they ever even become a client, what kind of customer journey do you want to run them through? You can map that out ahead of time. I put responsiveness just to remind. What else? Strategy. Have a strategy. Don't just throw crap out. When you're starting out, throw it out there. Spaghetti on the wall all you want. That's okay, because you're still finding your groove, your voice, your messaging. You don't have any of it dialed in. Hopefully you've got your audience. That's one of the biggest. And if you don't, put a couple of sticky notes on the wall and throw something at it. And that's going to be your audience. Do not waste a lot of time, because when you're first starting off, I promise you a lot's going to change right off the bat until you get dialed in. All right. Time, right? Rip through it. And then you want to do a lot of things to give that amazing customer experience. Nurturing client relationships. All right. So now this is the customer experience kind of on the other side. You want to build loyalty, retention, create feedback loops, ask them for their opinion. Like I ask you, this is a feedback loop, right? What happened to you when you tried to hire somebody? I am getting your opinion on something that I talk about, right? At the beginning of this, probably a bad one to ask your opinion on how this went, since it took me 10 minutes to start and now I'm using the wrong presentation. But what I wanted to know at the beginning of this was, hey, I'm talking about a totally different topic. This is a little bit deeper about the entire foundation of your business. And I want to know what you think about that. What do you think about this flow? And going a little bit deeper on this. All right, so loyalty and retention, email marketing. Are you keeping in touch with them? Client appreciation strategies. Do you have things built in to what you do? A lot of you use Facebook, right? Facebook will tell you when people's birthdays are. That's great. That's great. So eventually you can get that in your system so that you have that in your system and you can, maybe do something extra for your clients on their birthday, or maybe after they're with you for 3 months, you give them some sort of a prize, you gamify it, right? You've been with me for 3 months and you've gone through these things. What can they get? Maybe you have milestones, in Star Transformation, I have milestones that people go through for each area, and then a big one at the end of each big area. So what do people get along those? So how do I appreciate people? Maybe it's just, like a woo-woo sticker, an email that has a graphic saying, hey, congratulations, whatever. Referrals, testimonials. What are you doing to get those? That's important, right? When I work with brick and mortar businesses, on the brand elevate side, that's one of the things that we do is work on the referrals and testimonials. Very important in our business. Get it going on. How do you present them? Where are you putting them? How are you getting them? Stuff like that. So, all right, that was it. Foundation. Who guessed it from the beginning? Give me an eye. Who guessed it from the beginning? So the foundation framework. F is financial management. First and above all, where are you? Where do you want to go? Start with your personal and then move into your business. Even if you're not making money, set up your business one. Set it up. What are the basics of what you want to know? Put those zeros in every week. Get in the habit of doing it while it's easy. While there's nothing to put in there, right? Get in the habit of doing that. Once you have some clients coming in, you're going to want to keep up to date with that. Where's your money going? What is your cash flow? So important, right? profit doesn't necessarily mean cash flow either, right? If you're spending some of that profit reinvesting in your business, which you should be, how much are you leaving out? All right. Financial management, operational efficiency, understanding your market, networking and partnerships, diversification. That you may never want to diversify. You may want to diversify, as quickly as possible. I suggest you diversify when you're ready. And by ready, I would gauge it on a couple of things. 100,000, that's an easy one. Having systems in place, that's, pretty clear. Like, I feel like, wow, this is moving. This is running so smoothly. I can get my clients like clockwork. I know exactly if I do this, I know I'm getting this many clients. If I bump this up, I'm going to get this many more. That type of thing. Know all of that before you diversify. My opinion, just saying. Agile adaptation. Be able to move. Talent development. We talked extensively on hiring. And I do believe on hiring as soon as humanly possible. I also believe unless you've had experience doing it, you happen to love doing it, or have a lot of extra time, don't do it yourself. Because it can be a nightmare. Anyway, outstanding customer experience. Huge on that. One of my favorite words, experience. And then nurturing client relationships. A lot of ways you can do that. We talked about a couple, marketing. I didn't talk about groups. Groups is a great way. Doing training is a great way. That type of thing. I do not think I have my last slides on here that I really, really wanted to show you. Nope, that's last week's. All right, let me stop this. Just go back to me. So I'm going to pull up sheet. Oh my God. I know I'm driving you crazy because I'm driving myself crazy. All right. So let me just tell you the things that we have coming up. I'm doing a couple of workshops. There are there is a cost, but no brainer cost too. They're very inexpensive. So a couple of workshops coming out on the 27th. That one is Finish Strong, your Q4 Success Blueprint. Strategize your final quarter to surpass your year-end goals. We're doing that on Friday the 27th. Another one is October 4th, and the following Friday. Content Calendar Boot Camp. Build 30 days of posts in one day. I do this monthly. Love that. Intensively craft a month's worth of engaging content to keep your audience captivated daily. And then the last one is Profile Power Up. Transform your online presence. That one's on October 11th. Optimize your profiles to attract and engage your ideal clients. So that's the next 3 Fridays in a row, not this Friday, but the next 3 Fridays in a row, 27th, 4th, and 11th. If you're interested in all of those, there's a deal for that. If you're interested in anyone individually, you can get them separately. What else? Oh, the 25th. The 25th is next Wednesday at noon Eastern and 5 p.m. UK time. I'm doing my webinar, empty calendar to booked. I can't think of my cute cheesy name for it, but basically from empty calendar to fully booked is the name. So if you're interested in that, let me know. That's on the 25th. And that is free. It's a webinar, but it's Zoom only. So you're gonna have to give me your I'll have to give you the Zoom link for that. And what do we have? Every week we've got this Elevate Engage on Thursdays, and on Mondays, content creation accountability. If you're interested, those are both free. If you're interested in either of those, love to see you there. And I sound like a crazy person. And I am running a birthday bash. I haven't put it up on Facebook yet, but you will see it in a little while. It's up on a post on LinkedIn if you want to cheat and go over there and see it. Otherwise, I'll be putting it up on Facebook in a little while. Love to see you join that as well. All right, have an amazing rest of your day and your weekend. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining. And sorry about my crazy in the beginning and not being able to find my slide. Oh, what about it? All right, I'll see you. I have so much going on. I'll see you in the next one. If you, I had those so you could take a picture, but I don't at the moment. So if you just want to run through of what they are, just drop me a DM and say, hey, can you repeat? And I'll just tell you what they all are. All right. Have an amazing day. I'll see you later. Ciao, ciao.